I don't know.
I feel like a mucus monster, so you might have to edit my nose sounds out.
Oh, I'm gonna try. I'm also getting sick.
I'm not sick. I'm just mucus. I am mucus.
You are the mucus.
I am mucus.
The mucus coming.
Coming? Mucus coming?
Mucus
coming mucus.
The coming mucus storm. I am no longer getting sick. I am becoming mucus storm. I'm so sorry for that.
I have developed into a snotling.
It's not goblin. So welcome to Creature Crunch. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Hoity-toity-toity-toy.
This is of course, the podcast where we take a holiday movie and we crunch it down and seal it in a box with a 4-leaf clover on top, just sprinkled on top.
And then we have a stroke.
Yeah, and then we have a stroke. My name is Matt.
And I am a shoe made out of an ear.
And today we are covering... Today, it being St. Patrick's Day and all, the greenest and drunkest of holidays, tentatively.
You know where we live. Every day is the drunkest day.
Yeah, every day is the drunkest holiday. Where bars are only the number of bars in town are only rivaled by the number of churches. But we are, of course, covering the movie that is perhaps synonymous with St. Patrick's Day horror, as common as that theme is, the Leprechaun movie.
Yeah, the Leprechaun. It's just Leprechaun, Matt. The Leprechaun movie is something completely different.
We are covering Leprechaun.
There you go, buddy.
Leprechaun, yes. I mean, St. Patrick's Day was never a huge holiday for me when growing up. I mean, it was just you wear green, and then you get your. If you don't wear green, you get your personal space bubble violated.
Yeah, people learn not to do that with me. I bite.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that whole tradition has kind of gone away. I don't know, for the most part.
Yeah, because
especially now in COVID times.
Not only in COVID times, but it's like, you don't really want to have a holiday that's around like, hey, we're gonna pinch kids all day.
Yeah. So it's
instead people just get drunk. I don't, because I can't drink because my liver is a toxic wasteland.
Right.
But other people do.
And I don't, because alcohol all tastes the same to me. Also, medication. Yeah. Anyway, but we're here to talk about Leprechaun, not the Leprechaun Day.
No.
Let's just jump right into this, Chris.
Yeah, let's do this thing.
I think
this was a lot.
It was. This movie, it's not my type of movie. I have to be in the right mindset, and I think I was able to force myself into the mindset enough to stomach through the movie, and I can easily see why it's the cult classic that it is.
Right. When the movie is good and there are some fun parts in it, it's really fun, but it drags its heels so much.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason for that I'll get into in my synopsis, but yeah, it's again one of those movies that if you are going to enjoy this movie, you already know that you are going to enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
It's not going to surprise you.
Yeah. It's a question of, is your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street or Nightmare on Elm Street 3?
Yeah. So pretty much like it's not one of those where you're going to sit down and say like, I'm going to get a genuine and terrifying horror experience out of the Leprechaun movie. You're not gonna.
Oh yeah,
you're not gonna get that. You know that you're not gonna get that.
There are a couple places where Warwick Davis is like weirdly intimidating, especially in the beginning. But by the end of it, he's a clown.
Exactly. Yeah. So
he's having a ball. Like he's thoroughly enjoying himself.
He's having a lot of fun. So yeah, that's this movie. Spoilers if that is something that you're concerned about. If that is you, then God help you, but
yeah,
we're gonna jump into this. So, Leprechaun was written and directed by Mark Jones in his directing debut.
Okay.
Up until this point, he'd mostly written for various TV shows, mostly the A-Team.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. He was inspired by a combination of Lucky Charms cereal and the movie Critters to make this film.
That makes sense, I
and
guess.
He'd always wanted to direct a film, and he decided that a low budget film would probably be his best bet because, yeah. And that's it. Like, he's just like, I'm gonna make this spooky movie. And I guess I'll throw that in here at this point. He legitimately wanted to make a horror movie. He wanted to make a straight horror movie, and most of the movie was shot like that.
Yeah.
It was Warwick Davis
who
came in and was just like, no, we should do this a lot more goofy. We need to put in a lot more shtick into this.
Okay.
And of course Jones agreed, and they ended up having to go back and do a lot of reshoots for it and editing it. So that's kind of why it seems to drag its heels a lot.
It's like so weirdly paced in a lot of places.
Because it's almost like two movies stitched together.
Okay.
But we start up, and the movie immediately throws you into what it's going to be about. There's no build up for this. There's no mystery or suspense build up. It's just, there's the monster. There's our leprechaun. He's speaking in rhyme. He says,
try as they will, and try as they might. Who steals me gold won't live through the night.
that's it.
Yep.
Like, you get that. He's like fondling a little thing of gold, and you get full leprechaun right there.
Yeah, full frontal leprechaun.
And then, of course, as you mentioned, he is played by the legendary Warwick Davis, who is, if you didn't know, is credited as being the highest grossing supporting actor of all time.
Yeah. I knew that.
So,
he's a really cool guy.
yep. And like I said, it was his insight that led to the movie to have a more comedic tone. And at first, Warwick Davis really regretted making the film, but later decided that it's actually one of his favorite movies.
Well, he's really leaned into the role. It's why he keeps coming back for it.
Yeah, he had a blast with it.
I think he's played the Leprechaun in each sequel, and there's a lot of sequels by this point.
7 sequels. There's 8 total movies. So.
Yeah. That's a long run for a movie like this.
Yep. We start up after that with a drunken man pulling up into a limo into his farmhouse. This is Dan O'Grady, a farmer who I guess went to Ireland to spread his mother's ashes or something.
He went for her funeral, and like he was gonna bring her ashes home, and then didn't.
I don't know. He explains to his wife that evidently while he was there, he caught a leprechaun, because of course he did.
Yeah.
And he made it show him where the gold was. And he basically smuggled the gold in the urn and sent it back. And he's now on Cloud 9 because they're going to be rich.
Yeah.
So he immediately decides to go hide the gold. That's what you do with gold. You hide it.
Yeah. You gotta hide it under a mattress or something.
Yep. He's played by Shay Duffin, who's best known for writing and acting the title role in a one-man play called Brendan Behan, Confessions of an Irish Rebel.
Okay. Sure.
He also had a minor role in James Cameron's Titanic.
Okay. Sure.
So like I said, he goes and hides the gold, and while he's gone, his wife basically finds the leprechaun and falls down some stairs.
Yeah. So. I don't know how much the leprechaun's actually involved in that particular death. That seems like she just got startled and fell down some stairs.
That is exactly what happens.
Yeah.
The leprechaun then uses her voice because the leprechaun can mimic voices.
Yeah.
Which
there's a lot of, like, I'm not going to pretend to be like a leprechaun expert or anything like that. I'm not a leprologist, but
I think a leprologist is something different.
Whatever. Like, the leprechaun has a lot more quirks, I guess you'd say, than I'm used to, like, that particular type of creature having. Like,
he's got a lot of powers.
Not just powers, but a lot of weird stuff about him. Like the whole thing with the shoes, and then...
Well, yeah. No, it takes some liberties, I think. I guess. I don't know for sure either.
Yeah.
I didn't do my research into leprechauns, admittedly.
Yeah. It's just very strange.
He mimics the wife's voice, and Dan ends up threatening the leprechaun with a 4-leaf clover.
Like, he has the gun and a 4-leaf clover, and the 4-leaf clover is the more threatening thing that he's holding.
Yeah, he shoots at the leprechaun a couple times, but But Leprechaun is all about that 4-leaf clover and not keeping it away from him.
Like, the Leprechaun takes a lot of shots in this movie.
Yeah, he does.
He just gets blasted.
They end up going downstairs, and the Leprechaun mocks Dan with using his wife's body again, using her voice. And then kind of runs off, and Dan just gets up and like just kind of picks him up, just scoops him in his arms,
just manhandles Warwick Davis into a crate.
Yeah, pops him into a very conveniently placed open crate.
Yeah, it's the Leprechaun box.
He then places the clover on the crate and nails it shut, and the Leprechaun mocks him the entire time, but doesn't do a whole lot else.
Yeah.
And then he drenches the crate in gasoline and carries his wife upstairs, and like the Leprechaun promises that he'll go away if Dan just gives the gold back. And then we get our first one-liner of the movie.
Burn in hell, you little green bastard!
And Dan has a stroke instead of lighting the match.
Yeah.
He just has a stroke, which I'm not entirely sure if it was supposed to be the Leprechaun's like magic doing, or if it was just a weird coincidence.
Well, he keeps mentioning that, like, oh, you're not as young as you used to be and stuff like that. And I do think it's just, like, stress-related stroke. And, like, the Leprechaun probably urged that on just by being a little shit.
Yeah.
But I don't think he necessarily caused it.
I don't know. I have theories of my own that I had to develop in order to make our crunch work. So
Okay.
Then we have a time skip about 10 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And a song about a 4-leaf clover plays.
God, this song sucks.
I say I need a 4-leaf clover, one that's strong and won't blow away. Won't you give me my 4-leaf clover? Be my Leprechaun that's here to stay.
This song is miserable.
Yeah, it's like a country western song.
Yeah.
And near as I could tell, it's an original song written by Andrew Carestis.
Yeah, sure.
Carestis. I don't know.
How many more takes of that do you want to do?
These are all staying in, buddy.
Okay.
But I can't verify this, but I looked high and low to find the source of this song, and I never could.
Okay.
And it plays once again later on in the film.
Does
it? During the diner scene. It's the it's in the on the radio.
I didn't twig to that.
But yeah, we cut to the scene where a man named JD is driving his daughter named Tori to a random farm for summer for reasons that are unclear.
I don't understand why they're coming out to... And it's specifically said to be New Mexico, right?
No. She says it's New Mexico. He clarifies that it's North Dakota, because those two are very similar, obviously.
How did...
I mean, come on, here I am in New Mexico with my hick father for the whole summer.
Hey,
No offense.
first of all, it's not New Mexico. It's North Dakota.
Like it matters. All I care about is it's not LA.
Yeah. It was like, wait, what? JD is the one, he's bringing his daughter out. I guess the implication is they bought the house. It's never made clear. Yeah. I don't know why he's taking his daughter to this random
this
farmhouse
dump in the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of North Dakota. And North New Mexico. I don't know. But
De Mexico.
Regardless, this house is the one from the beginning of the film.
Right. It's the O'Grady
ranch
estate house thing.
Yep. Now, let's get this out of the way as well. We need to talk about the acting choices. So
I suppose we must.
Yes. That is, in fact, John Sandiford as J.D. Redding. And yes, it was only a footnote in his career that IMDb forever links him to as one of his biggest roles. But he also played in both Firestarter and Ryan's Hope, and would go on to appear in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen in 2009.
Well, good.
But
good for
he
him,
also played in a short called Yeti Vengeance, and I think that's great.
Yeti Vengeance?
This is the synopsis of Yeti Vengeance.
Oh, no.
Casey Reynolds is just looking for that one audition that might get her back on Hollywood's A-list, but she finds herself trapped in the world of Yeti Vengeance, another no-budget film produced by her fast-talking but lovable husband Artie. But on Yeti Vengeance, Artie commits the gravest of cinematic offenses via a deceptive bit of second-unit photography. So Casey quits, leaving the production without her climactic death scene. Now, Artie is scrambling for a way to finish the picture as he juggles keeping the crew motivated and pleading with Casey to return to the set for her final scene. A movie within a movie, Yeti Vengeance is a romantic horror comedy and genre-blending send-up and homage to the good old days of drive-in schlock.
Okay. I didn't hear a lot about Yetis or their vengeance in that movie. Or the movie within the movie, I guess. Matt, that sounds like shit. That sounds like bad shit. That sounds like a big dump.
So anyway, now that we got that out of the way, so as we were talking about, Tori just wants to go back to L.A. And yes, the acting in this is bad.
Yeah.
After they get to the house and she complains more to really establish that she doesn't want to be here, she ends up pulling up her 90s cell phone.
Yeah.
It's always amusing looking at 90s cell phones.
So big.
Kids, oh my god, you don't know how you have it. Like I gotta put on my old man pants.
Yeah,
right
she
now.
keeps calling it a portable. It's hilarious because that thing is the least portable phone I've ever seen.
But she's trying to book a hotel when she bumps into some random hunk and has to hang up, I guess. She tries to give this guy her money because she made him spill some paint thinner. And
She gives him like $40 for it.
Yeah, she gives him $20 and he's just like, what? Really? And then so she's like, oh, not enough, so she gives him another 20.
Yeah.
Because she is so out of touch.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And this tall slab of man is portrayed by Ken Allant, who's mostly just had guest appearances in a ton of TV shows, but starred in the early 90s series Superforce.
I've never heard of that.
Neither did I. So this guy mocks her quite a bit, and she has to school him. She has to school this dude bro on gender roles in the 90s.
Yeah, it's the 90s. Like, you gotta cool that stuff off.
Yeah.
Even though she is afraid of the spider in the house.
The himbo convinces her to stay by being hot and condescending.
Yeah, because that works. That works, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then we're introduced to the cringe gallery in the form of Ozzy, an autistic man, and Alex, a ratty brat kid.
Yep.
Ozzy is played by Mark Holton, who's best known as as antagonist Francis Buxton in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh.
And a character in Teen Wolf named Chubby.
An illustrious career. And he's going to be our not Chris Farley for this evening.
He is. Alex is played by Robert High Gorman, whose name on the Leprechaun Wikipedia page redirects to a page for the sitcom The Home Court.
Okay.
That's all I got on him.
He has disappeared into the mythos of time.
These two and Nathan, who Nathan is the hunk man,
Yeah.
are apparently working together as painters. It took me
three guys who paint.
Yep, 3 guys who paint. It took me about halfway through the movie to realize that, because like up until this, it's like, who the hell are these people and why
Yeah,
are they
yeah.
hanging around this house?
Well, I kind of figured they were like handymen to like help fix the place up, because I mean, it's a big old dumple when they get there.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, we're painters, and okay, because you know Ozzy's wearing
The overalls
that are covered with paint. Their truck has paint all over it and stuff like that. And they're carrying cans of paint.
And Hunky is carrying the paint thinner.
Yeah.
Right.
And then like the only thing that gets painted is like maybe 2 feet of wall and like a couple strokes on one of the windows.
That's about it.
Yeah.
That's
and
about it.
That's all they paint. And like I know shit starts going down at this, but like they're there for a little bit before that happens. But that's all they've done.
I just want to know, like, I want to be introduced to the business model that these 3 employ, because their employees are an autistic man, a 12-year-old, and a hunk.
You're gonna have to talk to the 12-year-old about that, because apparently he's the business genius behind this. He's the one who handles their insurance. He knows how to fix the truck.
Oh, we got notes on the truck later.
Yeah. Like, this kid is the genius, is the brains behind the operation.
Yeah, and the movie really wants us to understand that he acts older than he is because he asks for a beer at some point.
Yeah, he does, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Tori's bringing some tea down to Nathan in the basement because that's where he is, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know why he would be down there, but that's where he is. Or at least that's where she thinks she is.
Yeah.
And he ends up dropping a tarp on her because he didn't see her there. And she ends up spilling the tea on the crate that the leprechaun is in. And we find the leprechaun wake up in the crate. He's been in there the whole 10 years.
Yeah, and the only thing that was holding him in there was a few nails and a 4-leaf clover.
Just a 4-leaf clover. Mostly just a 4-leaf clover. Just Just
the nails really do seem kind of superfluous at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, the 4-leaf clover just kind of like loosely draped on top, and that was it.
Yeah. Not even secured. Like, I would have at least taped it to the box or something.
Right. Laminated the damn thing.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
It's just laying up there. And then, for whatever reason, Nathan and Tori decided that they want to open the crate. It's unclear as to why. I think Nathan even taunts Tori about, like, being afraid. Mm-hmm. I don't know what they're expecting to be in this crate.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because already by this point, every time these characters were on scene and Warwick Davis wasn't, I was checking out.
Yep.
Like, I was not present for the majority of this movie, I hate to say.
They don't get the crate opened, though, because they are distracted by Ozzy screaming upstairs.
Yeah.
And they go up to find him just covered in blue paint.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
And he's yelling at the kid because the kid was supposed to hold the ladder, but the kid is on top of the ladder and Ozzy's on the ground, so I don't know how this situation happened.
Something
bad happened here.
So they send Ozzy inside, and he's distracted by the sound of the leprechaun singing "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" in a little kid's voice.
Yeah, he did the same thing to Mrs. O'Grady when he was trapped in a suitcase, I guess.
I don't know. And then Ozzy goes downstairs, and we get another great line read, one of the many great line reads of this movie of him just
wow, butt-neat junk.
And Ozzy is duped into investigating the crate, and he accidentally knocks the 4-leaf clover off of it, and this frees the leprechaun.
Who busts out of it like the Kool-Aid Man.
Yep. And then eats a rubber cricket.
Yeah, just because he's so hungry, he hasn't eaten in 10 years.
Yep. And at this point, we find out that in addition to being a leprechaun, he is a shoe gobbler.
Yeah, he says he's a shoemaker,
and threatens to bite off Ozzy's ear and make a boot out of it.
Right. He's very bitey.
He's very, very bitey.
Like, okay, like, when he's first talking to O'Grady at the start of the movie, he says he sold his soul for the gold. Like, so are all leprechauns like this, or is this just one evil leprechaun who sold his soul to the devil?
Well, yeah, that does raise a good question. Is that what makes a leprechaun? Is it just a short person who sold his soul?
Or just anyone who sells their... Like, is that what happens when you sell your soul to the devil? Do you become a leprechaun?
Do you become a leprechaun? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's a possibility.
Like that, I don't know. That.
But then again, that may be also why this is an evil leprechaun.
Because he's a leprechaun who sold his soul.
Yeah, leprechauns are just real, and this one also sold his soul.
Yeah, so
because the devil's also real.
Because the devil is also real, yes. But, like, so does that mean that all leprechauns don't have gold? And they only get their gold when they sell their soul?
Maybe yes. Maybe the gold myth with leprechauns is the harsh stereotype that we need to stop perpetuating.
Yeah.
And it's only the evil ones who sold their soul to get the gold. Or maybe leprechauns are just, like, they want gold. They don't necessarily always have gold, but they have to find a way of getting gold. And this one just discovered that he could sell his soul to get the gold.
Okay. But we are in agreement that he is an evil leprechaun.
There's no question.
Yeah, okay, because he does several murders that are not related to the gold.
It's true. He just murders people for funsies.
Yeah.
So, and then he also does he does a lot of not murdering in relation to the gold either.
Yeah.
He's just an asshole, I think.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to watch the rest of these movies to try and figure out the leprechaun lore about what's going on with this particular leprechaun who sold his soul to the devil. Agreed.
So back to this, Ozzy... I don't remember how Ozzy gets away from the leprechaun, but he does.
He starts, like, shining Ozzy's shoes, because that's his thing. He has to shine shoes. And then, like, Ozzy starts screaming, like, leprechaun in the basement, leprechaun in the basement, and the others come down, and because Warwick Davis doesn't have all of his magic yet, he hides.
That's right. Yeah, he's weakened.
Yeah.
I guess.
He says he does not have his magic yet because he's been 4-leaf clovered for too long.
But he does have magic. I've seen him use Mage Hand.
Yeah. He does have some magic, just not all of it.
Yeah.
He did sell his soul to the devil that gives you some advantages.
Yes. But it's also implied later in the film that his magic is directly tied to the gold.
Right.
Because he doesn't get his power back until he gets the gold.
Right.
We don't see what that power entails afterwards, but he has more power then than he does
so
now.
he's fueled by selling his soul to the devil and his devil gold.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no. The selling the soul to the devil gave him the gold.
Right.
And the gold is magic.
Okay.
And the gold gives him the magic, but it's been wearing off because he's been without the gold for 10
In a 4-leaf
years.
clover, yeah.
Yeah. And 4-leaf clover. Apparently, 4-leaf clovers are the anti-leprechaun.
It's like whenever you make a bargain with the Fae, like there's always some sort of loophole that you can get through the argument, or they can get you or something.
Yeah.
And it's like this one. When he was talking with the devil's like, okay, I'll give you all this gold, and while you have your gold, you have magic. But if a 4-leaf clover touches you, you're gonna get gremlined.
Do you think the devil was like, yes, you can have all of this gold for the price of your soul, and it'll make you very, very powerful, and whatever, 4-leaf clovers, and then I was
could be like, I mean, it is the devil.
Yeah, like it was that fine print.
right. And Leprechaun did not read the fine print on that one.
Yeah, because he's like, and then afterwards he was just like, oh no, 4-leaf clovers are so like symbolically tied
of
to
what
leprechauns,
I am,
and yeah,
I have
I've been
massively
spoiled.
fucked up on this day.
Maybe that's why he's such an asshole.
Yeah, he's just really mad about this bad bargain he made because he sold his soul and got this 4-leaf clover curse for 100 gold pieces.
Which is not a lot.
It's not a lot.
About
I mean, they do say later that one of those gold pieces is worth like $500.
Right.
So yeah, that's worth a lot of American money. But when this leprechaun sold his soul, he didn't know that America was going to be a thing.
Right. And I mean, back then, that was kind of the currency, I think.
He says he's 600 years old.
I mean, that's not a huge amount of time.
It's long enough.
In the grand scheme of things.
Well, yeah, but I mean, are we going off of geological time for this fucking leprechaun?
But I don't think even 600 years ago, a bag of 100 gold pieces would be worth a soul. Then again, it is magic gold.
It's magic gold, so as long as he's got the gold, he's got the magic. Like, this is a deeper movie than we anticipated.
But Ozzy explains to the rest of them that it was a leprechaun, and
He came right up out of a box, and he had these long, real scary fingers, and he wouldn't act like Lucky Charms or anything, and then he had a bug.
A leprechaun?
Yeah.
Which is not the first nor the last Lucky Charms reference we will be getting.
No. Gosh, no.
Everybody heads down into the basement to search for the leprechaun, who's, not there.
Not there, because...
Ozzy is describing him and knows that, he's talking about the leprechaun's teeth.
What's real? I mean, he had the buckles on his shoes, and he had them real horrible teeth, and they were all rotten and everything, and I know he never does brush them.
Yeah, and one thing the movie really obsesses over is the leprechaun's gold buckles on his shoes. Like, that comes up a lot.
Yeah.
And, every time the leprechaun needs to prove himself that he is a leprechaun, he's like, oh, look at the buckles on me shoes! And it's like, and once again, is that a thing? I don't know if that's leprechaun mythology or not.
I don't know. IMDb says that there was a goof on his hat, where the buckle on his hat has the middle, prong showing the entire time, which is not how buckles look like.
Oh,
so it's obviously fake. I don't...
Well,
whatever.
I mean, it's also, really glittery and sparkly.
Then again...
you first see him, so it looks like a Party City hat that you get for a St. Patty's Day party.
Then again, the IMDb goofs page is incredibly nitpicky, so I'm not going to...
It usually is. And, the IMDb goofs page is either, very nitpicky or completely made up. It's basically Wikipedia.
That's true. That is true. It's just very entertaining. So they all head back outside, and a rainbow appears over the house.
Yeah.
Just... And Ozzy is like, oh, it's so magical, and everybody else
apparently,
is
immediately forgetting his leprechaun encounter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got greed on the brain, because he immediately is like, it's the leprechaun's rainbow, and leprechauns have magic at the end of have gold at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah, but the leprechaun literally just threatened to kill him if he didn't give him his gold back. No, I don't.
I was more distracted by the fact that everybody else is like, it's a rainbow, so what? And I'm like, guys, there's not even a cloud in the sky. What the fuck?
Very clear sky rainbow, yeah.
Alex and Ozzy head off to investigate the end of the rainbow, and it ends at an old abandoned truck, and then it disappears.
Yeah, and I guess this is O'Grady's truck because
I don't know.
The gold is here.
This truck has not been sitting there for 10 years. This truck has been sitting there for 100 years. It is it is just pile of rust. There's no doors. There's no wheels. There's no hood. Like, it is like...
Then how did the gold get there?
I assumed that it was because O'Grady hid it there.
Okay.
Even though IMDb says that's a goof because O'Grady wouldn't have had time to hide it there. I don't know how they got that, but that's what IMDb says. But I just want to note that Alex is a fucking idiot because he says he wants to hotwire the truck.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude...
It doesn't even have wheels at this point.
I would be surprised if it has an engine.
Yeah.
But Ozzy ends up finding a gold coin in the front seat, and Alex finds the rest in a little bag. A leather bag that just kind of magically appears there.
And Ozzy wants to see if the gold is real, so he does the thing that he saw in a movie once and bites it, and then he swallows it.
Wah, wah.
Because he's a big goofer.
Nice going, Jaws.
Alex decides that...
Jaws is a shark who ate a lot of gold, as you know.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows that Jaws ate gold. The one thing that shark is known for.
Eating gold. Alex decides that he wants to take a coin down to town to determine if it's real or not, because the bite test clearly failed. And he decides to hide the rest near a well. Because, again, gold you gotta hide.
You gotta hide gold. It's like, otherwise the government comes.
Yep. And it takes 75% of your gold.
Yeah, at least. More if you're in Tremors.
Alex also wants to get Ozzy an operation to fix his brain.
Oh my god.
And ouch. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oof.
Like,
oof.
it's one of those things where it's obviously Alex being mean because he's a little shithead. But Ozzy, like, takes him seriously almost.
The movie tries to play it up like he's being genuine. Like, you're supposed to be like, oh, Alex cares about Ozzy.
Yeah,
but it's like...
No, he's being a little shithead.
No, that's
a mean thing to say.
I know this was the 90s, and that was a different time, but oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, later in the film, when it's revealed that that's what Alex wants to do, Tori is just like, kind of pulls him aside and like, Alex, you can't fix Ozzy's brain. And for a half moment, I actually got like stupidly hopeful. I'm like, is she seriously going to have like there's nothing wrong with Ozzy's brain conversation?
Right.
I'm like, whoa, that would have been cool as hell.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't get that. But,
no.
I mean, I'll take it, though. It's close enough. There's nothing...
Well, yeah, but then Alex is like, yeah, but Ozzy doesn't know that.
Oh,
and it's like, yeah, okay, why are you fucking with this guy?
Yeah. And the whole thing, like, Ozzy as a character is just so problematic.
He really is. Like,
but
not even with the benefit of hindsight, like you said. It's like you knew.
Yeah. But it cuts back to Nathan teaching Tori how to paint the house.
Kind of. They paint the same area of house again.
Yep. And the leprechaun is hiding under the truck. And as Nathan kind of goes away, Tori goes over to the truck, and the leprechaun begins stroking her leg, and she immediately thinks it's...
cops a feel.
Yeah, and she immediately thinks it's Nathan for some reason.
Yeah.
But Nathan is behind her. Whoa! And so when she realizes that it's not Nathan, she screams, and the leprechaun just scratches the shit out of her leg.
Yeah, this is like she startles the leprechaun. Like it's an angry cat or something.
And Nathan is just bewildered that when she's like, I thought it was Nathan, he's like, you would let me touch your leg? It's like, oh my god, dude, stay focused here.
Well, he takes some goddamn liberties later on with her.
Yeah, that's true. But like, I just had to note that this movie was getting weird in a way that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
But JD, Nathan, and Tori all suddenly start hearing a cat stuck in a log or something.
Yeah.
And so the dad goes in to retrieve the cat, but is bited the hell out of.
By a leprechaun.
Yep, by leprechaun.
And he is out of the movie.
Yep, he's gone. That was it. So long, JD.
They could not afford the rest of this man's paycheck.
Well, he had busy things to go do, like Yeti vengeance. So they decided they need to take him to the hospital really quick. Because, I mean, let's be fair, it is a nasty bite.
It's a nasty wound, and, like, especially with a wild animal, you'd want to make sure he, doesn't have rabies or distemper or something like that.
But the truck doesn't start.
Yeah.
So they send Alex to go and fix it, because Alex is the mechanic.
Like I said, without Alex, this like organization would not function.
Yep.
These 3 guys would be completely screwed.
But his method of fixing it is to open up the hood, and you see this like mess of like tubing, and he just wiggles it a bit, and that's it.
Yeah.
Truck fixed.
Oh, he knew.
Yep. And then, so they drive off, and the Leprechaun goes into the barn and drives out on a small tricycle that he just procured.
And he is so thrilled to have that tricycle.
He's pretty happy. It takes them all day, apparently, the rest of the day to get to the hospital.
Because it's night when they get there.
So
he had to drive all the way to New Mexico.
Alex and Ozzy head to a coin collector's to verify the gold, while Tori and Nathan take JD into the hospital. And
is it exactly a coin collector's place? Because he's got a lot of bullshit there.
It says on the window, coin collector.
Okay, because he's got a lot of bullshit there. I thought it was just like a general pawn shop.
I didn't see a whole lot of coins.
Yeah.
But the window sign says coin collector.
Okay.
So, the collector wants to study the coin overnight, and he says, like you said, that it might be worth like $500 if it's made of pure gold, but from a historical standpoint, it might be priceless.
Right.
I get that, you know?
Yeah,
He's like, I don't recognize the engravings on this, like, this might be worth a fortune, which absolutely I get. And he's like, yeah, I want to study it overnight. Okay, you know what? This all seems legit. So Ozzy and Alex leave, and the collector begins studying the coin, and then he hears the tricycle bell. And he loosely investigates, and then he moves eventually to put the coin in his safe when he doesn't discover anything. And while he's, like, opening up the safe, a tricycle just kind of randomly rolls out and bumps into him. And he, like, gets up, puts the tricycle up, and he looks around a little bit, and then he pulls a Skyrim, and he's like, must have been the wind.
Yeah,
and then he goes back to the safe.
Somebody put a fucking basket on my head. Now I can't see.
But he opens it up, and there's the Leprechaun. He's inside the safe.
Yeah.
He's got
Which, if he could get inside the safe, why didn't he just take the gold and leave? Like, why?
I don't know.
Why is he having such a problem getting the gold back? He could teleport inside of Ozzy's stomach and take that coin.
Well, he doesn't know. See, that's the other thing is, like, I always thought maybe the Leprechaun had, like, a connection to the gold.
Like a gold sense?
Yeah, but he doesn't, because he's, like, off, he's not on the right track at any point in this movie.
No.
Other than this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he apparently can Misty Step inside the safe. He bites the collector's knee, calls him a bad shop owner.
Yeah.
Bad shop owner. Bad shop owner.
And then grabs a pogo stick and just hops over in slow motion.
In very slow motion. Like, they undercranked the hell out of that Leprechaun.
And then he kills the guy by pogo sticking on him.
Okay, this was really funny because I watched this on Tubi. Because as of time of recording, it is available on Tubi for one more day.
Yep.
And when you watch movies on Tubi, they have ads, right?
Yeah.
So would you like to guess what ad I got right after this?
Oh, God. What did you get?
I got an ad for Bounce Detergent.
That's too perfect.
I was so happy.
So, yeah, he kills the guy with the pogo stick, just because the pogo stick is, like, very very pointy. Shines his shoes, kinda.
Just kind of rubs at him.
Yeah, there's
That's
blood.
all he does when he shines them is, like, he takes a rag and, like, wipes them twice. It's like, job well done.
Yep.
Good going, left.
You can see the blood on him, but
Yeah.
whatever. And then he upgrades himself to a little, like, toy car.
Right.
That he drives around him.
He stole it from Gizmo.
And then we cut to the diner scene with the music playing. Stuff is talked about. There's a lot of, like, cameos here. Apparently Warwick Davis and his wife are in this scene.
Oh, I didn't even see him.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I didn't double check. I just read that.
Like, this was another scene where it's just like, I am not paying attention. They're talking about how apparently Jennifer Aniston is bad because she doesn't eat meat but wears shoes, and
yeah. But they decided apparently that they need to keep the dad overnight for observation for this bite wound,
Right.
which, I mean, it is a severe bite wound.
it's pretty severe.
But I think that whatever.
They had to get him out of the movie somehow.
Yeah. We cut to a cop speed trap. The cop is eating donuts.
Yeah.
And then the leprechaun comes like scooting by in his little car.
Yeah.
Speeding, I guess. I don't know. And the cop ends up pulling him over. And
It's a school zone, man.
in the middle of nowhere. And he gives the line, like, aren't we a little young to be out this late? And the Leprechaun's like, no, I'm 600 years old. And I'm fucking, and you can say fuck, I guess. So, The leprechaun ends up grabbing the cop's face in a very, like, bloody manner.
Just like... Yeah,
Just, like,
Lep says ACAB.
Yeah. And steals the cop's gun and just kind of tosses it away. He doesn't need no guns.
No, that's the one thing he does not do, is he doesn't use a firearm.
Nope. The cop gets away, I guess, and runs through the woods with the leprechaun in hot pursuit.
Which I do think means that this is like one of the first holiday movies we've watched where the monster doesn't pick up a gun and shoot somebody, other than like Shape of Water.
Huh. I would not have guessed that for this.
Yeah.
But,
nudity and guns, that's what we got on our holiday episodes, man.
But the leprechaun chases the cop through the woods, taunts him quite a bit, does a lot of like fancy footwork and minor illusion bullshit.
And like keeps popping out from behind trees. And then,
The cop loses his damn mind and throws his baton at nothing. And then
if the rest of this movie was just the leprechaun fucking with cops, I'd be okay with it.
The leprechaun runs off, and then the cop is like just exhausted at this point. He collapses near a tree.
Yeah.
Leprechaun drops down on his shoulders
and just snaps his goddamn neck.
Yep.
Leprechaun is stronger than he looks, apparently.
He's kind of beefy.
But like this is what I was talking about.
To be fair, in most movie universes, human neck is made of like porcelain and glass.
Very true. It's very true. But like this is what I was talking about. Where like, what are the rules for the leprechaun here? Because this cop has nothing to do with the gold situation.
Nope.
At all. And he gets murdered. And like he gets taunted and like cat and moused, and then just has his neck fucking ripped off.
I think this leprechaun is a little bit more savvy to to current world events than we thought.
Like I said, leprechaun says ACAB.
Yep. So whatever. And then the leprechaun ends up sneaking back to the old house to look for his gold. And he finds a box of not Lucky Charms and eats them.
Like knockoff brand Lucky Charms.
And he doesn't like them. So
they've been there for like 10 years. Yeah. So
well, that and from what I was reading, apparently General Mills actually gave them permission to use Lucky Charms in the movie. And it was like a big thing. They'd asked for it. They're like, hey, we're making this movie. We want. And General Mills was like, yeah, go for it. And then after they saw the movie, they were like, no. We're backpedaling.
They thought it was going to be more kid friendly than
probably. And so this scene had to be reshot because they couldn't use the actual Lucky Charms box and logo and stuff. So they did that. That is also why at the end of the movie the kid says "fuck Lucky Charm" or "fuck you, Lucky Charms."
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway,
this all tracks.
Yeah. It's a scene of him going through the house, doing weird stuff. He finds a mirror and at first is scared as a reflection, but then he admires himself for a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's really weird. He basically trashes the house, but he gathers up all of the shoes and boots he finds, shines them to a pristine shimmer.
Jennifer Aniston has a lot of shoes because she's a girl.
Yeah, but most of the shoes on the desk were boots.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. But the family returns home, other than, of course, JD. And,
who is just never seen again.
And they see all of the pristine shoes on the table. And
apparently he did a better polishing job on these than he did on any of the other shoes.
Yeah. Nathan thinks that it might have been a bear. All of them cobbler bears.
Not just that, but like I could see a bear getting into the house to look for food or something like that. But then how many bears are going to like go and neatly open up a cupboard, take out a box of cereal, open it, eat a few, and then spit them out and throw the thing? Like, do they just have really finicky bears in New North Dakota, or
they got very picky bears? Tori is like freaking out at this point, and she's like, we need to leave. I want to leave. So she walks outside and then immediately walks back in because she forgot that it's night. Apparently.
Yeah, she forgot that night happens.
Yeah. They end up cleaning the kitchen off screen, and they do a fake out bell sound. I'm just gonna glaze over a lot of this BS.
It's very dumb. It's very dumb.
Yeah. Ozzy is kind of wondering aloud if it's possible to even kill a leprechaun, and Alex describes in very visceral detail how he'd do it.
Yeah.
This kid's got problems.
Alex, do you think you could kill a leprechaun?
Ozzy, you can kill anything. You just gotta know how to do it. Now give me a 357 Magnum, press it to the little green critter's temple, and blam! brains and guts and oozing cruddy stuff dripping all down its head. The guy's gone with the capital dead.
Yeah. He's just gonna plug a hole in this leprechaun.
Yep. Nathan, like, the leprechaun ends up ambushing them, and they start running out. Nathan trips and falls into an open bear trap, knee first.
Yeah.
Which can't feel good.
No, it fucks him up for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, like, and then the leprechaun, like, taunts at him and comes at him with a hatchet.
He's gonna cut his leg off.
But Nathan fends him off pretty effectively.
Uh-huh. Well, it's really funny because, like, the leprechaun is apparently invincible. Like, you can't kill him without the four-leaf clover. You can fuck him up because they just go to town on this leprechaun for a bit. Like,
well, yeah, because like Alex runs and gets a shotgun. And Ozzy goes to call the police for help, and the police don't believe him because it's Ozzy, he's making up stories again. Fuck you, people. And but you know, Nathan ends up getting the shotgun, and this shotgun has infinite ammo.
Yeah, I was going to note that. It doesn't run out of ammo until, like, the most dramatic moment at the end of the movie.
Yep. But he just shoots the shit out of the leprechaun.
He puts, like, 4 shotgun rounds directly into this dude.
Yep. But then, of course, the leprechaun's not there. He's just gone when they go investigate.
And he's just like, yeah, okay, I obviously killed him because I put, like, 4 shotgun shells directly into the leprechaun.
And his body's gone.
And his body's gone. Yeah, he despawned. He vanished because otherwise the game would stop.
Yeah. You get too many leprechaun bodies.
Yeah, just get a lot of slowdown. Bunch of no-clip.
They go inside. Tori goes to call the police, but the phone doesn't work. The line is dead, although we find out later when she rips off the wall, it's not connected to nothing.
No.
They stop the bleeding on Nathan's leg off screen and then eventually head to the truck, but, truck won't start.
Yep.
Alex goes to fix it, but, the leprechaun's under the hood eating the tubes. Can't wiggle them tubes now.
They're full of leprechaun.
The leprechaun breaks into the through the windshield and bites off Ozzy's ear, or at least bites Ozzy's ear. Ozzy is now convinced his ear is going to be turned into a boot. Tori burns the leprechaun's nose with a cigarette lighter. And this stops the leprechaun cold.
Yeah. Like I said, you can momentarily stop the leprechaun. You can beat him up. You can shoot him. He'll fall down. You can't kill him without the four-leaf clover. You can fuck him up.
Yep. So the leprechaun retreats back to the barn, where you hear a lot of, like, machinery going all of a sudden. And he comes out with a souped-up little car.
Yeah, with a pitchfork on the front of it.
Yep. And he rams into the truck, which absolutely flips the shit out of the truck.
Just rolls it. This leprechaun is dynamite.
Yep. Our heroes run back into the door with the leprechaun chasing after them. They shut the door on the leprechaun's hand. It severs it. Mm-hmm. The hand climbs up, opens the door so that the leprechaun can retrieve it, and then he just runs off.
Kind of a cute scene. I like that.
Yeah. The police are radioing at the dead cop to check up on the kids because of all of the calls that they've been getting. But the leprechaun is now suddenly there and impersonating the cop.
Right.
No, it's all cool.
I'll go, but if you don't hear from me, don't send backup.
Yeah, I have the note that at this point, Tori is still adamant that it is not actually a leprechaun.
Yeah. Then what is it?
But then Ozzy does kind of spill the beans about the gold, and Tori is like, immediately flips. She's like, oh, well, if we just give this guy his gold, he'll leave us alone.
He's not a leprechaun, but we did steal his money.
Yeah. So she goes out to the well and retrieves the gold and gives it back to the leprechaun. And that's when he gives his line, like, oh, my magic is stronger now, or whatever. And he gives her a smooch on the cheek and runs off.
Yeah.
And again, I thought it was going to be like one of those supernatural links where he's going to open up the bag of gold and immediately could tell that they're not all there.
No, he has to count it piece by piece. That, and I think counting it out like that does make him very horny.
I mean, if I sold my soul for magic gold and was, like, without it for 10 years and then got it back, I'd probably savor the moment, too.
Well, like, he is, like, when he gets the gold from Jennifer Aniston, he's just like, oh, it smells like me gold, it sounds like me gold, it tastes like me gold. And then he's just like, I'm going to count it out one at a time while having a giant leprechaun erection. And...
But it's, it's ruined. He gets cock blocked as
he's got blue balls from this.
He's missing a gold piece.
Yep, because Ozzy ate that one piece at the beginning of the movie, and he hasn't had a bowel movement since then.
I mean, to be fair, only a few hours have passed, so...
Yeah.
But
I don't know, it went from day to night all of a sudden.
That's true.
They had to drive to New Mexico. It could be in any number of rest stops between there and here.
But yeah, the leprechaun attacks them from inside the fridge, and then burns his hand on the stove in a very slapsticky way.
Yeah.
And then he plays Scooby-Doo cupboards as they try to, like, shoot him.
It gets very silly.
Yeah, like, every time they open the...
Even for a movie called Leprechaun with a killer leprechaun, it gets very silly.
Yeah, and like they're opening the cupboards with Nathan pointing the shotgun, and every time they do, he shoves that shotgun all the way
in there.
It's like, he's not trying to shoot the leprechaun, he's gonna poke him.
Yeah.
But the leprechaun opens up a cupboard and grabs Nathan's dick.
Yep.
It doesn't amount to anything other than a cop of feel, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, he can't get off right now because he doesn't have all of his gold. He's going to make sure nobody else does it.
But, I mean, Nathan is not really hindered by it, too.
No, he's not.
Although, I just had to note that, like, at the beginning of the movie, I always thought that the movie was setting up Jennifer Aniston to be the eye candy, but, like, very quickly flips. No, it's Nathan.
This is a movie with male eye candy, which I had to appreciate. The movie's not great, but it's kind of great.
Yeah, and Nathan's jeans are awful tight.
They are.
But
I can see that man smuggling all of them plums.
The leprechaun makes a Santa joke, descends the chimney. They end up shooting him again. And now Nathan is super sure he killed it.
Well, he shoots the leprechaun. Leprechaun falls over, looks dead. And it's like, okay, I have obviously killed the supernatural creature. And then they go and start poking at him, and he pops back up.
Yeah, he pops up, and then runs away.
And then runs away.
He kind of scurries away.
And rides a skateboard.
Yep. And we've yet to see Nathan reload the shotgun. It is an infinite shotgun.
Oh, yeah. It's like the shotgun from Doom, where you do have a limited amount of ammo, but you don't have to reload it.
Yeah. And then the leprechaun, like, starts taunting them by calling the phone on the house. Mm-hmm. And Aniston rips it off and throws it on the floor, and then it rings again, so she answers it again, because I don't know what she was expecting.
And it's the real one this time.
And a little hand comes out of the receiver.
A leprechaun hand comes out, like, strokes your cheek.
Yeah.
It's very Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, he gives her, like, a need a hand joke. And that was that.
Yeah, nothing comes of that.
Yeah, and then Ozzy suddenly puts together why the leprechaun hasn't left. It's because of the gold coin in his tummy.
Yep.
And was I think he gives straight up. Somebody gives the line. I'll have to put it in there. Somebody gives the line of word for word. That thing is a leprechaun, and we've got to find a way to stop it.
Yeah, it's Tori who says that, I believe.
I think so.
That thing is a leprechaun, and we've got to find a way to stop it.
She finally admits that it's a leprechaun and that it needs to die.
Yep. We learned that at this point that Dan O'Grady from the beginning of the movie, who had a stroke, is still alive and lives at a rest home.
Which shocked the hell out of me. I figured he just died.
Yeah. And Tori says that, like, you know, they need to go and see him because he clearly knows how to stop the leprechaun.
Well, I guess you told Ozzy when Ozzy was little, like, different stories about, you know, leprechauns and spirits and fairies and stuff like that.
Sure, I'll buy it.
So, I mean, it does, like, it makes sense because, like, the leprechaun was stopped. At least, like, he was in a box.
Yeah, that's true.
So, if anybody knows, this old man does.
Yep. They end up heading to JD's Jeep, and the leprechaun ambushes them, but they distract him by throwing shoes into the dirt, and he's just super compelled to shine them.
Yeah. It's like, some of the vampire legends has it where they have to count rice if you throw it in front of them, and it's kind of like that, but much stupider.
Yeah, so Tori ends up leaving while the rest run back into the house. I don't know why they all didn't just go, but... and Leprechaun magics himself onto the back of the Jeep while wearing skates.
Yeah.
And then she turns and he just...
He's gone.
Yeah, he skates through a fence, and leaving a leprechaun shape. The scene is pointless.
Yeah. In this movie...
Tori sneaks into the rest home where the security guard is asleep. Tori sneaks into the rest home because the security guard is asleep, finds Dan in a wheelchair, and nope, psych, it's the leprechaun in a wig.
and then he chases after in a wheelchair.
And this scene goes on for like
forever.
Yeah, it goes on forever.
Ever.
There's no reason for it.
And they overcrank that leprechaun like nobody's business. Like, that film is so sped up to make it look like he's going fast.
One of the goofs that IMDb listed was that in most of the scenes where it shows his hands and it's sped up, one of them it's not.
Oh no,
that's the goof.
One of his hands is
the
other one is.
It's a normal sped up, or it's a normal shot.
Oh gosh.
Anyway,
well, perfect movie otherwise.
Flawless. Tori hides in the elevator where she finds Dan from dangling from the roof of the elevator. It's weird.
Hasn't aged a day in 10 years after a stroke.
Yeah. He's still alive too, I guess.
Barely. Well, you know what? He's hanging in there.
He is hanging in there.
See, that's what you usually do to me, and
I know.
I got you this time, and you're not giving me any credit for it.
He tells
my goddamn flowers.
I'm going to continue on, Chris. He tells Tori that the way to stop it is with a 4-leaf clover freshly
plucked from the clover patch by the well.
Yeah, I don't know why it has to be freshly plucked. That last one lasted 10 years.
And when did he pluck that one? Like, he
just
had it on him.
Yeah, he did. I didn't see the scene of him going out and looking for it.
He was busy being Leprechaun.
Yeah. So, yeah, Tori has to find this 4-leaf clover. She goes searching for it. They have, like, green light illuminating the...
Those clover are radioactive.
Well, no, because the light is coming from above. I don't know.
Those clover are being abducted by aliens.
The leprechaun ambushes her. There's another pointless chase scene. She ends up finding the cop car and shoves the police baton into the leprechaun's eye. He rips the door off.
Yeah,
he's a strong boy.
The eye from the cop corpse.
Yep.
And puts it back in.
Yeah.
So apparently that's a thing he can do, is like replace body parts with other people's body parts. So I don't know why he doesn't just give himself like some crazy long arms or something like that.
Yeah, we have a
just
lot of
steal the arms from some big beefy dude and go to town.
We have a lot of like random flop like. The leprechaun has got as much ADD as I do, as he just jumps around from place to place.
He's all over the place.
Yeah, like Nathan is suddenly there because they heard Tori's screams. We find Alex playing with the bear trap.
And like,
there's
Alex is like luring the leprechaun into the barn so he can kill him to prove that he's not afraid, which is apparently a through line in this movie. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. We have a very exciting searching for a 4-leaf clover scene.
Yeah, where Ozzy convinces Jennifer Aniston to believe.
Yeah.
Not in anything in particular, just to believe.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta believe, as Parappa the Rappa said.
Yep. The leprechaun ambushes Alex, who tries to shove his head into the bear trap.
Yeah.
Ozzy saves him.
That'd be kind of a gruesome way to go for that kid.
Yeah. But then the leprechaun uses his belt buckle to slash up Ozzy's face.
Yeah, just like starts whipping him with it.
But Alex shows up with the 4-leaf clover that they found, and he wads up his gum in the clover and slingshots it into...
The slingshot that has not been seen since like the first scene that Alex was in at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. He slingshots it into the leprechaun's throat with delivering the "fuck you, Lucky Charms" line.
Yep.
Fuck you, Lucky Charms.
The leprechaun melts in a very gooey fashion that is reminiscent of, well, a lot of our other holiday movies.
Yeah, like it very much reminds me of Stripe melting in Gremlins. Especially when he pops back up.
He falls down the well, but he's alive.
Kind of.
So Nathan goes up and just hits him with the back of the shotgun, and then pours an entire can of gasoline down the well.
Fucking ruins the water in that area.
Yep, and explodes the shit out of it.
Yeah, because that's what gasoline does, it explodes.
Yep, and then suddenly it's day, and then the police arrive.
Way too late.
And then the leprechaun gives one last, like, incantation thing.
I'll not rest till I have me gold. Curse this well that me soul shall dwell, till I find me magic that breaks me spell.
And then the credits.
Yeah. And then we have 7 more sequels.
Yep.
Where he goes to the hood, and then to space, then back to the hood, and... Yeah. They're kind of everywhere.
We'll cover those in due time. So,
are we going to be doing this podcast for 8 years? Don't you put that evil on me.
So yeah, that was the Leprechaun. I kind of shotgunned the last portion of it because at this point, that's how I kind of felt during the movie and taking the notes. I was just like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, like I said, when it's good, the movie's fun, but it just drags so much. And I honestly think it would have been better if they hadn't taken Warwick Davis's advice.
I agree.
And made a more, like, serious... They could still have the humorous aspect in there. Like, their real, like, booklet for this movie needed to be Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Where there's funny bits into it, but Freddy's scary.
Yeah.
And he's not fully goofy yet, and...
Or they should have gone... They should have done it initially as a comedy. Like, I hate to invoke this, but... like Thankskilling.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure Thankskilling used this movie as a source of inspiration.
For sure.
But it does it better because it is more of a, they know what they're doing.
They know exactly what they're doing.
This one has got, like, that ADD feeling.
Well, it's got one foot in both areas, and it's constantly, like, trying to find its footing.
Yeah. So it made it sporadic for me to watch, and I like you, I lost a lot of interest, especially in the third act.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Leprechaun.
Yep.
We're going to go ahead and jump on over to the crunch now.
Yep.
All right, so welcome back to Creature Crunch. We're going to crunch up this little guy now. We're gonna throw Warwick Davis in a vice and
don't do that to Warwick Davis. He's a really nice guy.
So I was in charge of this one, as I am with most of the holiday episodes.
Yep. And I'm lazy.
And I've got to fully admit, 100%, I have enjoyed a lot of doing these. Like, every now and then taking the notes and doing the research can feel like work. But I do generally enjoy doing the crunch and watching the movie initially. This one
was a chore?
This one was a chore every step of the way, including crunch. So
really?
I do apologize if that comes through here. But
that's a bummer.
But I did crunch him up.
Yeah.
And I've got what I call the Greelin. If you've got a better name... If you've got a better name suggestion, I'm all ears. I originally had Gold Hoarder, but that just is like kind of bland and boring to me.
That's bland, and like, considering it's a little guy with a big nose, that could be bad.
Yeah, so this is just the Greelin.
Yeah, that's better.
So he's a small humanoid, a goblinoid, which is another through line that we have with holiday episodes. We get a lot of goblins.
Yeah. Well, it's like goblin is such... I mean, when you think of the D&D goblin, it's a very specific creature. Mm-hmm. Goblin as a term is like any sort of weird monster.
Right. And it just seems to fit. So he's a goblinoid. He is lawful evil.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. He follows a lot of rules. He's got an armor class of 11. He is easy to hit.
Well, like I said, he gets the shit kicked out of him a lot. Yep. But it just doesn't take. And
he's only got an average of 61 hit points. That's 10d10 plus 6. Mm-hmm. And a speed of 30 feet. His most interesting attribute is strength. I gave him a 16 because he does rip off a door.
He flips a car. He goes nuts.
And I gave him higher charisma only because of spellcasting purposes.
Okay.
Other than that, like, he's pretty standard, a 12 in both Dex and Con, and 10 in Intelligence and Wisdom.
Okay.
His only skill is Deception, and he's got a passive perception of 10. He speaks Goblin and Common, and he's a challenge rating of 4. Okay. I didn't give him any damage vulnerabilities or anything because, again...
he doesn't have any.
Yeah, and we see him get taken out quite easily with shotguns and stuff. But his traits now are the... There's a lot of words here. There's a lot of traits he's got, and this is where he starts to shine. First and foremost, I have what I called fantastical appearance.
Okay.
The very nature of the Greenland's existence betrays its own legitimacy. Whenever a creature that has seen the Greenland firsthand tells another about it, they must make a DC 20 persuasion check. On a failure, the recipient of whatever tale is being told about the Greenland doesn't believe the tale. Regardless of any logic or physical evidence that is presented. A creature who witnesses the Green Goblin...
the Green Goblin! You know, I'm something of a leprechaun myself!
A creature who witnesses the Greenland directly is immune to the disbelief caused by this trait.
Okay.
I thought that would be...
No, that's very thematically appropriate.
Then I gave him the Undying Legend ability. The Greelin doesn't age and requires no food, water, or sleep. I mean, he was in that crate for 10 years.
For 10 years,
and
yeah.
It didn't seem to bother him a whole heck of a lot.
He was hungry. He ate that cricket when he came out.
Yeah, but he doesn't need to eat.
No, unless a bunch of crickets got in the box, and he was just like eating one every year or something.
If the Greelin is reduced to 0 hit points, it is rendered unconscious and considered incapacitated for 1d4 rounds before regaining all of its hit points and regaining consciousness. Our boy is invincible.
Yeah.
Lost limbs are regrown, and ongoing conditions such as poison or fear are removed. When it revives in this way, the Greelin cannot perform any attacks or offensive spells until 1d6 hours have passed. Every single time we see him get taken out in the movie, he gets back up and runs away.
It's very true.
I also gave him the Gullible trait.
Okay.
Now, short of like just straight up saying that he's got like a weakness to shoes or whatever, I decided this would be a better way of representing that. Basically, the Greelin has disadvantage on any checks made to discern lies or motives of other creatures, and any attempt to deceive or distract the Greelin is made at advantage.
Okay. You can successfully defuse this guy with the old got your nose trick.
Yeah. I gave him the...
Ooh, give me me nose back.
I did give him the bog standard mimicry ability,
Okay.
because he mimics things.
Yeah.
So...
He's got that going for him.
Yeah, I don't need to explain that. And then I did give him some innate spellcasting.
Okay.
I almost made him just a standard spellcaster, because we don't see that too much in Creature Crunch, and I thought that would be interesting. But it doesn't make sense, because that would restrict him to very specific schools of magic, and he would have to use material components. So instead, I
like this better.
Yeah, I gave him innate spellcasting, with the spellcasting ability being charisma. The modifier is only a +2, so he's not super strong. And he can cast at will Mage Hand, Invisibility on himself only,
Okay.
and Ray of Sickness.
Okay.
Now, the Ray of Sickness I gave him just because, like I said, I kind of felt like maybe
Because he gave Mr. O'Grady a stroke.
Exactly. And besides, it felt thematically appropriate. And then 3 times a day he can cast Bane, same thing, and Misty Step.
Right.
We see him doing that all the time. And then once a day he can either cast Bestow Curse, same thing, or Blink.
Okay.
And then his actions, I gave him multi-attack. Now this one I took a liberty on, because he has the ability to make 1 bite attack and 1 claw attack. But if both attacks hit the same target, the target is knocked prone.
Okay.
His claw and bite are both +5 to hit,
Right.
and an average of 7 piercing or slashing damage, 1d6 +3.
Okay.
Then I gave him the Pogo of Death.
Oh, goodness.
He whips out a pogo stick, and he can make a melee attack against one target, dealing 6d6 +3
Jeebus.
piercing damage, but he can only attack a prone target with this attack.
Okay.
And then I just went ahead and put in the Ray of Sickness as an action to kind of help out the DM, because I found that very useful.
Yeah, no, that is.
And then finally, I gave him 1 reaction called Invisible Escape. When the Greelin recovers from his Undying Legend trait, it can cast invisibility on itself.
Okay.
And that's it.
Yeah. Well, I know you said you had a hard time doing this, but I think you did a really good job with it. Like, he looks a lot of fun.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It was not... I didn't have fun with it, but I am happy with what I came up with.
Yeah.
And the idea, like, I don't know how good of a creature he is going to be, because you may notice that he is invincible.
Yeah,
You can... Like, the players cannot kill him.
No. Well, I mean, he supposedly dies at the end of this movie, but he's got 7 sequels.
Well,
obviously didn't take.
He also has the end line.
Right.
He does not die in this movie.
Right.
Even with in the face of the 4-leaf clover in his goddamn throat.
Yeah, like, I imagine that puts him down for a bit.
Right.
Because he doesn't, we don't see him anymore, but...
So, I envision this guy as being
The world's most annoying antagonist? Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I mean, the first time he appears against the party, he might cause them problems, being a challenge rating 4. And he doesn't do a huge amount of damage. He's not meant to.
Unless he gets you with that pogo stick.
Yeah, but he is persistent.
Yeah.
But then eventually the party starts out leveling him. And then he's just a nuisance.
Right. He'll just show up when they're fighting other things, and like, and biting their ankles.
Yeah, and then they're just be like, oh, God damn it, there's that Greelin again.
I mean, Bestow Curse.
Somebody throw a shoe.
Yeah, Bestow Curse could be a problem.
Right.
Like, that could be nasty for somebody.
But, Yeah, like I said, I didn't include anything with the 4-leaf clover. I also thought about maybe doing like a cursed magic item in the form of the gold, or incorporating that in some way.
That's something where like that would be DM's fluff.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of where I think most of his stuff comes from. So if we ever do put this in a book, like that's when we're going to have to include that kind of thing. But as far as the stat block itself, I just felt it was a little too much.
No, I don't blame you there. I think you struck a really good balance there.
So yeah, that's it. That's my Greenland, my little leprechaun, my Warwick Davis.
Yep. Now we get to make it 7 more times. Once a year.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'll be in the hood. Sometimes he'll be in space.
So, yeah. Thank you so much for listening to Creature Crunch. I hope everybody has a safe and fun, happy St. Patty's Day.
If that's a thing you're doing, you know...
Just please be safe. I think that's the thing.
This is going to sound awful preachy. Don't drink and drive. If you do drink, make sure you have a way home, or you are at home, or a safe place. Don't overdo it. We don't want to see you in the hospital. We don't want to see you with cirrhosis of the liver. We don't want you to be injured in any way. But if you are going to enjoy yourself, please do enjoy yourself in a safe way.
Yeah, and do so responsibly. You can also check us out on Patreon. That's patreon.com/CreatureCrunch. Follow us on Twitter @CreatureCrunch. Or shoot us an email, creaturecrunchpodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to send us suggestions or recommendations. We love to do those, especially with some of the ones that are not necessarily on our dartboard.
Which is expanding all the time. Our dartboard is very large at the moment. It's at least one wall of our recording studio here.
But we do really appreciate that. Anything to add, Chris?
No.
And if you want to shout at us directly, you can. So, Chris, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at the Library C. That's CEE.
And you can yell at me on Twitter, Danny_Hamsteak.
But if you want to find any of our stat blocks, they are available on D&D Beyond under Matt's username, which is D_best_disguise.
I promise I will update those at least once a month.
Yeah, but I mean, it's very useful for just having them there. Like we always put the stat blocks on our Twitter and on our Patreon, but having them on D&D Beyond like that, so you can use them in the encounter builder and stuff like that, is very helpful as well.
It is. Except for one notable exception, being the cooked hell turkey from our Thanksgiving episode.
Which is way too similar to the Unseen Servant.
Yeah, they won't let me publish that one, so...
That's hilarious. That will never stop being amusing.
So with that, farewell everybody, and we will see you next time.